Hello, I have a question for the rabbi or someone who's very knowledgeable on the Torah. My name is Kurt Brown. I was a bank examiner for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and survived an attack on my life after reporting money laundering and murder. Subsequently, I was injected, tortured, exiled, and partially blinded from 2001 to 2004, and I've been attacked since then, not only in the United States but in Canada. But this doesn't have to do with what's happened to me. I have a question. It's a perplexing question. I want to let you know that I have the deepest respect for both Jews and Muslims, in particular the humane ones who act with intelligence and conscience. I believe in some ways maybe the human race has been misled. And I will talk about this in relation to what the rabbi was talking about with the bread. I know that Rabbi David Weiss of New York's Nutrii Karta said that in the Torah it is expressly forbidden for the Jewish people to return to Israel until the Messiah has come. He said that the Messiah has not come yet, therefore they are in violation of the Torah and what's happening. After all, if we look at the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill. In materiality, as I would think of it, as I am a bank examiner, I have to look at things as what is material and what is not material, or what is more material than one thing than another. For instance, we looked at materiality in terms of dollar amounts and the total assets holding of a bank. If Bank of America lost 100 grand, it probably wouldn't be even noticed. If a small community bank lost 100 grand, they would be under severe audit. It has to do with materiality, and everything is relevant in that term. Where in the Torah does it state that the children of Israel, or the descendants of the tribes of Israel, can return to Israel in our lifetimes, in this time? If so, do those Jews that are in Israel now think the Messiah has already come? Or can they go there before the Messiah has arrived? I understand there's probably a lot of fear among many Jews, particularly after what happened in World War II. I can understand that because I have been tortured here in the United States, injected with chemicals against my will, and blacklisted by people who I trusted. It was people within inside the federal government. They turned on me all at once and fed on me like I was a piece of meat. And my wife, who is now my ex-wife, she ran away from me or divorced me because of the harassment by federal government against me and her to get to me. Had it not been for her, I'd probably still be locked up in Los Angeles County Jail, and I would have been sent to a prison and put into an insane asylum and injected repeatedly, possibly in a VA facility, in much the same way that I've seen other veterans who have been put in there and injected repeatedly, and they have they killed themselves. I would rather die than to be forcibly injected. The federal government of the United States is allowing this on a grand scale nowadays. I am totally against this. If they are to control our children with the forced injections, chemicals, or any other way of injecting chemicals or whatever into their bodies, it is my prayer that God will go ahead and collect us from this mess. Take us out of here. We can send in the Goliath of warfare if necessary to bring it to an end. It would be unnecessary, but our lives would become immobile and stuck in time, much like a slave in a cage, hooked to a grinding wheel. I've seen generations poisoned. I've stood next to the stream with a Muslim woman one time during Ramadan. No sexual contact. It was a very beautiful thing. I've traveled hills with Jewish women before. It's a very beautiful thing. I see the whole aspect of warfare and the taking of lands as unnecessary. After all, this land is only rented, and our bodies are rented, so what are you fighting for? Can't you get along? Can't you see the beauty in the people next to you? Do you always have to look at the ones you consider ugly? I've considered Israel, for instance. Maybe if the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians all kind of got together and had dating services together, or perhaps the checkerboard design with various neighborhoods being both Muslim or Jew with a center point where they could interact in each checkerboard until it becomes like lines of striation, and then form into something greater. As it stands right now, I've been injected and tortured. I've had my career ruined. I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to view things differently. I don't find it humorous what's happened to us, or what's happened to the people in the Gaza Strip. I understand the people that are in Israel probably came there out of fear. After World War II, I cannot blame them. It's almost like being put in a box with someone, being forced into a box, I guess you would say. I'm talking about the Jews going into Europe, as they were pushed out, and then finding yourself being beat to death or killed inside that box. You want to go back to the box where you originated from. But was not that the same thing happening in the other place? What have you really accomplished? Like I say, I have many Jewish friends. I have many Muslim friends. I have even Hindu friends. I see the whole point of warfare as being futile. However, when I'm attacked, it's the first response I want to do sometimes. It's our natural response, fight or flight. I normally took flight when I was cornered, but it's done me no good. I do still have my freedom. I can look at myself in the morning when I get up. I found that maybe I was put through a lot of tests and hardships in this life for whatever reason. Even this painting behind me is my little publicity joke of a sort. You can see it at Mobile Audit Club on the Quatrains 1 page, or maybe Loveline 1 page, one or the other. I think it's Quatrains 1. It has 2 layers to this painting. I painted the first layer after I believe it was after I had been terminated from the FDIC in San Francisco. I was investigating murder and money laundering on my own, and that's where I got in trouble with the government. They started coming after me, attacking me on the streets, injecting me. I went to the VA facility. Funny thing about all that time in this painting is the first layer, I believe I painted, was before I was arrested and injected and stuff. I believe the second layer, the top layer, was after I was released from jail. I think I wanted a better picture. It was too depressing for me. Because underneath I painted something that reminded me of a demon. It seemed to have a special meaning for me, this painting. I call it the queer painting, just as a publicity stunt, I suppose. Nothing significant, really. I just kind of got it from that song by Garbage titled The Queerest of the Queer. I like the little redhead in that video. But I made a joke about this. I called it Ballsy Bub. That's the demon underneath. I painted this picture of San Francisco here. That's San Francisco Bay here. That's Marin County up there. Here is San Francisco itself. This is standing from over around Balboa Street down around by the waterfront. There's the entrance to the bay going into harbor of San Francisco. I'm just wondering how much longer time will last. They say space has a shape like a loaf of bread. I was once told that some people eat a loaf of bread or a piece of bread. They eat the bread, but they never eat the part where their fingers touch. Perhaps the bread is poisoned in that man's mind by what he has been touching with his fingers out in the world. So he does not eat that. He only eats the bread. Perhaps that's what's happened to the Jewish people. Someone has eaten poisoned bread. Maybe it's the whole human race. This is Kurt Brown, St. Rambon, Mobile Audit Club.